Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to the Sex and Suicide Podcast. I am here with a good friend of mine named Kimmi, and we have a really unique way that we met. So we're going to get into that in a minute. We've moved Woman Crush Wednesday from Wednesday to Saturday. It happens. People have things that come up. So Kimmi's been kind enough to come with us and be here today on this Saturday evening. And she's got a really interesting story to share. So what I want you to do, Kimmi, well, first of all, say hello to everyone, Kimmi. Let them hear your voice.
Hi, everybody.
What we want to do is, I guess, get your side of the story as to how you and I came into contact, because I haven't heard it from you, right? We just kind of were put in contact. So how did that come to be?
Basically, I got an email. Somebody said that there's Bachelorette coming in, so we were going to do some filming. Ended up having you come in, which was really interesting actually, because we ended up doing some whipping.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I ended up handcuffing you.
Yeah.
And we ended up having some wild fun with that one. I believe I actually ended up missing when I whipped you on the first time.
Yeah.
And that was pretty bad.
Yeah, there was. I remember that there was. So you got an email, because I'm trying to understand this too, because I'll tell you how my side of the story went. Okay. So, the producer from The Bachelorette came into town to film sort of what my life was like here in London. Okay. And because I had, been taking the course for sex coaching, he said, you know what, we want to get you into a sex store as well, which is how, I guess, you went to a few here in town, and some of them didn't want to be filmed.
And that's how you ended up finding me.
Absolutely. So Kimmi worked at Love Shop, right? It's on Dundas, right?
Yeah, it's on Dundas Street, right up First. And yeah, I was working at the largest actual sex shop in Southern Ontario at the time.
So this is the shop that's, because I remember going in.
Shop.
Yeah, I remember walking through those front doors, and I was like, holy fuck, this place goes. It's like a warehouse.
Oh yeah, it was massive. We had 2 big rooms. We had a big porn room with like 50,000 discs. It was quite awesome, actually.
Yeah.
And then we actually ended up having like just extensive product from fetish to anything. It was awesome. It was definitely one of the jobs, I would say. It made it really, really fun. We were working with very interesting products.
Awesome.
It was really fun.
Yeah, and this is really cool for me, because I haven't really had anyone on that's actually worked in the field, right?
Yes.
Per se. I've had people on that have, obviously everyone that's been on has had sex.
Exactly.
But no one's really worked up close and in that environment. So I got, the producer said that he went and he had talked to all these different sex stores, and yours was the one to go to, and he said, I found a cute woman that I want to use. She's going to be available for this. And that's how I'm like, okay, so I guess it was all him that set it up, right?
Yeah, that was all him. He ended up messaging us, and he ended up emailing us about just telling us about what you guys were doing and that we were going to do some filming. He kind of left it a little bit more loose leaf, and we didn't really know where it was going to go. We knew it was going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And then you had come in, and we went right to the fetish stuff, actually.
Yeah.
That was where we went. We decided, we're going to go to the most extreme stuff, and it was awesome.
I think that was, you know what, though, because I don't know if it was originally in their thought process when they first started filming, but the theme was 50 Shades of Grey, because 50 Shades of Grey was big, right?
Yes.
So their whole promotion of the video of that whole reality TV series was based on 50 Shades of Crazy for the guys being nuts, right?
And it was really, actually, we accomplished that one. You ended up getting whipped with actually a reinforced steel.
I remember that one. That was the one, like it was like this long, right? It was one that
with
just
like a Teflon kind of cord around it. I don't know. It was a very, very intricate piece that's like super thin and non-intimidating. And then the second you whip it, it will actually cut skin.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, this is perfect. And we ended up actually having to do that a couple times.
Yeah. So they I think they missed the scene or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you missed.
I missed.
Yeah.
I ended up whipping in the wrong direction because I have really bad hand-eye coordination.
So Kimmi, the first time that we met, I walked in the doors with a film crew from Toronto that had been set up from this producer from Los Angeles from The Bachelorette. So we walked in these doors. The first time Kimmi and I have ever seen each other, she's pretty much whipping me. It was a pretty straight to the point encounter.
That was a pretty great introduction, though. Actually,
it was, and so you were a champ too, because you actually went around and you tried to educate me on all this stuff too. And that was good, because at that time I was very new to. I had basically just signed up for the sex coaching course, and I didn't know. Like, I knew the basics about toys and vibrators, the bullet, and the rabbit, and all that stuff. But you went and you made sure I knew everything that was about to happen.
Well, it's always really fun to actually know about all these different products that can enhance things. And also it's really interesting to see you try to do the Liberators too. That was interesting. When you end up going in the back and you saw all the sex position pillows and you were just like, okay, let's try these ones.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember that you did... There was a glove that you put on.
Oh, I electrocuted myself. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we ended up putting on the electro stim. I don't know where you got that idea.
I don't know either. I think it was...
the most intimidating thing in the shop that we were all scared of.
Yeah.
It was the most high-tech one we ever had. And he's like, shocked me. I was like, I don't know why you want to be shocked, but we'll do it.
Yeah, I was going through a phase at that time, I guess.
And you were so willing to do it, and I was like, okay, we'll do this. I'm safe. We can shock him. And then what ended up happening was I put it on inside out, and I ended up shocking myself.
Right. I forgot about that.
I myself in the face from that one. That one caught me off guard.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It was pretty funny.
But we went through a whole tour of the store.
Oh yeah, we were there for a couple hours.
Filming. I remember because I had these big black dildos that he was making me do some curls with, and
we had the giant ones that were like as long as like your torso.
Yeah,
and
they were huge.
Crazy. Yeah, they were like thick too. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
and we were just like, it was wild. We were definitely opening up everything we could possibly get our hands on. And after a while, it turned into a playground.
It did. It did turn into a playground. I think what happened is, and I don't think I've ever seen to this day that producer laugh as hard as he was laughing in that store. I think what happened is it never ended up getting aired on TV, and the reason is I think we went a little beyond primetime television.
A Tic Tac style.
Acceptability. And then at the end of it, I don't know if you didn't know this, but we got the blow-up doll. Remember, we walked out with the blow-up doll?
Yes, I remember that because we had to pick the perfect doll for you guys.
Yes.
You guys wanted to see them. We had them all blown up, and they could pick which one they liked, and you guys ended up picking your lovely lady.
Yeah, so we walked out. So they have on film, I'm walking out with my blow-up doll. And then later on that evening, back in my apartment, Kimmi, you weren't there for this.
No, unfortunately.
But
I feel like I'm gonna have a good story.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're there, and I'm in my apartment with these two guys just laughing hysterically because we're basically going through the Kama Sutra and I'm explaining these sex positions while I'm on top of a blow-up doll.
That is amazing.
And it was and I remember going and kind of you're having so much fun in that moment.
Yeah.
And then I remember after that going and explaining to people what I did, and they're like, "Dude, that's gonna be on fucking TV, man. Like, your parents are not gonna be happy with this." I guess I didn't really think that through.
No, but you know what? It was absolutely great. You guys were so much fun. I would honestly say how we ended up getting into all that fetish stuff was hilarious. It was just everything we could get our hands on. We were like literally just kids in a playground. So I honestly think it's great that you guys were open enough to actually come to the shop and actually have some fun like that, because it was definitely a great way to get through the day through work.
Sure, I bet. Yeah, we probably a couple hours of your shift probably flew by.
Yeah, I got paid to have fun and with him. It was really, really fun.
That was awesome. I really wish we could get our hands on that footage. Unfortunately,
I was so curious for so long. I was like, I want to see what happened, but I had a feeling we kind of took it a little too far.
But I mean, at one point in time, we thought maybe they'd release it online. I don't think that ended up happening. I would like to reach out to him to see, hey man, can you
just leak a little bit, just like 2 minutes? Yeah. We just want to see.
Unfortunately, that footage does not belong to us, but it's somewhere in hiding.
Yeah, but one day it'll be released. One day you'll have it leaked.
Yeah, one day it'll show up, right, when I'm in that running for politics or something.
It'll literally just while you're running for office, and you'll have that video just cruise on there, and you know what? You might even get some more votes. That was pretty great.
We did have a lot of fun.
It was really fun.
So let's get into your story now, because you and I obviously became friends after that through social media, but we didn't see each other
for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a while. We stumbled past each other on Richmond Road a few times.
A couple times when you were partying.
This is during my cocaine phase. This
is back when you were drinking and having a wild time. I saw him halfway down the block before he saw me.
That sounds about right. But I do remember seeing you, which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's not normal.
And that was super long ago, too.
That was over a year ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
For sure.
So it's been a while.
And I've been meaning to pop into the sex store and see you and everything. But
the transition.
Yeah, the transition. So let's talk about, let's start from the beginning of how you sort of decided you wanted to work at a sex store? Like, what was the driving force behind that at first?
The best thing that ever can happen to someone is an accident.
It's an accident.
It was an accident. I walked into a big store. It was under construction, and I walked in, and I was like, I want a job. I want to be able to just like do whatever. Just give me something. And they hired me. I realized when I walked in, there was a wall full of dildos, and I was like, oh, okay. But mid-interview, you can't really run out of that. So
Right.
I ended up getting into that, and didn't know if it was going to be long term. Ended up staying 5 years, and it was. Honestly, it was brilliant. It was a really great job. It was a wonderful experience. I got to see all walks of life, and it was definitely something that was an eye-opener. I'm very like private as a person myself before I was working there.
Right.
And then once I started working there, it just, after seeing it so much, it became a norm. I started seeing the regularity of normal people. Like, the stigma that I thought was going to walk in those doors never really seemed to hit that like
Really?
shot. It was like maybe 1% of that stigma actually does exist.
Really? So
Like,
a lot of it's in our own minds.
it's just stigma, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will be kind of afraid to even like park in front of the shop.
Yeah.
So like once they actually got comfortable and realized it was a professional environment, clean, informative, and we're trying to make it as classy and just it's supposed to be a pleasurable experience, and pun intended.
Yeah,
but like that's
sure.
the thing. Like I want to make sure that you get the full satisfaction, and I can't do it with generalized knowledge. So we
Right.
have to talk, and sometimes putting people outside their comfort zone is something that actually projects them towards something they never knew they actually needed to learn.
Right,
And
I
that's
agree.
something that's very important.
Yeah.
So I thought the shop definitely not only taught me a lot of things, it allowed me to also see a lot of things that I never think I would have been exposed to, and
Right.
that's something that I was really like grateful for working at that shop for. It's
kidding.
really amazing, and plus, honestly, delivery days were awesome because you get to open a box of dildos every day with like Christmas. So all the girls would get together, and we'd be pretty irritated if we end up opening the boxes without each other because we wanted to see the new toys.
Right.
So it was a really fun
It was
job.
exciting, sure.
Oh, yeah. And the staff were really close. Like, we were all really close, and we always try to make sure our customers got the best possible experience. We try to be really fun and outgoing, and we also wanted to make sure that they were educated.
Yeah.
That is a big thing with sex, is education takes away the taboo.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
100%.
I agree.
So that's
yeah.
something that I find fundamentally important, is like when you actually take the time out to actually kind of force yourself out of that comfort zone, you might actually be surprised how you've subjected yourself to you're taking something away from yourself. You could easily be able to enjoy something, and you're avoiding yourself of that experience because of what other people have projected to you.
Right.
Find out for yourself, and you'd be very, very shocked.
Sure.
And that's something I find, like, once those people started doing it, I had regular customers coming in like every week. They were like just your average Joes, and it was really, really great. So yeah.
No kidding.
It was really nice.
So did you go, when you went into this line of work for 5 years, because
Yeah.
it was, did you have to kind of learn as you went?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Read every box. I've all over my Facebook. You can see some of my reactions. I literally was going and opening every, like, they have testers that they would send us.
Okay.
And I'd be opening them, turning
Did you try them all?
We got sent so many toys. I honestly thought it was the weirdest job, in the sense of the boss would send us new toys, and he would literally, it kind of felt like our boss was telling us to go fuck ourselves and then tell us like what the review was. So it was like I had to give a personal referral. So
That's awesome.
that was pretty fun. But like, yeah, it was a great job, I must say. Like, got a lot of benefits from the job. So
Right,
and I got to
sure.
meet a porn star.
Yeah.
That was cool. I met you.
Yeah,
and that was
for
like,
sure.
I met some really interesting people. I gotta say, this job definitely was the place to be.
It brought you out of your shell, so to speak.
100%. I used
No
to be
kidding.
a very big girl that was very shy and mousy, and then I ended up becoming very antisocial, and then from that I kind of stuck in this little box. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I was kind of like, someone just had to pry me out of it, and once it happened, there was no turning back.
Sure. No kidding.
So definitely really fun.
That's amazing. So you're in agreement then, because I know that since I started learning about, we're going to call it sexology, because in the field of sex coaching, it is sort of 100 hours of coaching, 100 hours of sexology, and that's
100%.
kind of what you dive into.
Yeah.
But I know for me, as soon as I started learning about everything, and it was mind-blowing at first,
Yeah.
but also I figured, I'm actually having the least amount of sex that I've ever had before, because it's like the more I know,
it's
the
so
less likely
true.
I am to just give it out.
It is so true, because honestly, I used to get like people would suggest that I was very like hypersexual for working in that shop.
Sure.
And that was the last thing on my mind when I went home. I wanted just to put my feet up, I wanted to smoke a joint,
yeah,
and I wanted to sleep. That was the 3 important things.
Sure.
And honestly, at the end of the day, it was a paycheck. I didn't want to bring work home with me
right.
all the time.
Yeah.
Now sometimes.
So would you say you got sexed out? Like just
I wouldn't
from talking
say
about?
sexed out.
No, okay.
I've got some like pretty intense stories that end up happening because of the love shop.
Okay.
So from that, honestly, it was just more. I diluted it and then would make up for the lost time.
No kidding. So what? Some of these crazy stories. Like let's tell a few of these.
Well, I ended up going. We had Vixen Steele, this porn star. She was actually just a kind of a generic porn star. Nothing really special about her first. Now she's like huge now.
Okay.
And she ended up coming to the shop doing some promotions for herself. So promoting, trying to get her name out there, things like that. She's from actually from Lake Quebec on. I might be screwing up the
That's
thing.
okay.
I'm not French, so I can't do that.
Don't worry, we don't fact check here.
Perfect. So she does that, and she ends up coming down. We did some autographs. We hung out, and it was really cool. Well, she invited me to the strip club, which I already had intended on going.
Which one? One in here in London?
Gold Diggers.
Okay,
so,
all right, nice.
One of the most like East End
yep.
strip clubs, but gotta stay classy. So whatchamacallit,
and that hasn't been around too long, right?
It hasn't. Unfortunately, Flesh Gordon's got shut down, which was that place was awesome.
Yeah.
But we ended up going there. We'd done promotions with them. Another wild stories coming from there. But they end up inviting us over for my birthday, and I end up getting bottle service, fun stuff like that. Well, it turns out Vixen was doing a debut there.
Really?
So we end up having I got called on stage for my birthday.
Really?
And they ended up playing Michael Bublé and was just like, hey, come on stage. I was like, sweet. So all of a sudden I was like getting a lap dance, and all of a sudden after that it was like her, me, and 2 strippers were end up on our stage. So it was interesting, I gotta say the least. We ended up messing around and having a wild night.
Really?
It was crazy because like my
wish I was there for that.
Oh, and there was like all my friends and my girlfriends are sitting there just like, are you doing this on stage? I'm like, well, it's happening. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
So it definitely projected me into some interesting situations.
Man, I wish I could bring this podcast inside the strip club. That would be. I mean, Facebook could shut it down real quick. But
really quick. But
yeah.
Oh man, the strip clubs are great. The Montreal strip clubs are better though.
Yes.
You gotta go to Montreal.
I've been there. I'm very
best.
familiar with the Montreal strip clubs. Thank you.
It's great.
Oh man, I wish that back when I was partying, I wish we had a. Fuck, it would have been a lot of fun.
It would have been great, honestly. But this is still pretty cool too.
Yeah, this is cool too.
This is pretty awesome.
You live and you learn. You live and you learn. So, so you've had some great experience at the sex shop. Mm-hmm. Well, the love shop, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
love shop, sex shop, it all happened.
And you've had some great experiences and stories to tell from that.
Yes.
Let's get into the more serious side of Kimmi.
Okay.
So just for a little while, right? Just for a little while. If there is one.
We'll get to the serious side. I'm sorry for laughing so much, guys, but I'm just a very bubbly person.
Absolutely. So I noticed your post, and you know that this podcast is sex and suicide. We talk about. First of all, you were explaining to me what you thought of the title, and I never told you what it meant. So tell me what you think it means.
Well, I love the fact that it's taking the 2 things that we are both like focus on in humankind, and it's pleasure and pain. We're combining those 2, and the 2 things that are very taboo is sex and pain, because nobody wants to actually admit that they're weak. They think that's a sign of them submitting to whatever feeling they have, and honestly, bringing light to this is something that is super fundamental. This is where we have movements with LGBT communities and things like that, because somebody decided to speak out to try to take that norm away from it.
Sure.
And with doing that, it's exposing people to it, and it's a kind of like people feel more secure knowing someone is comfortable to do it themselves, and it's power in numbers. So then one person, then you get 2 people, then 3, then 5, then and same thing with this type of topic. The more people talk about it, the more comfortable they are to talk about it, then you're going to notice that kind of cringe reaction that you seem to get from both subjects is going to subside.
Sure.
And that's super important because I think a lot of people have been told, like growing up, I've been told to keep sweet, keep calm, keep face. It's all about how you look. And honestly, it's not about how you look. It's how you feel. And how you feel reflects how you look. You will be happier as a person when you're comfortable with how you feel.
Sure.
And when you're honest with how you feel. And even if it's not always positive, a lot of people try to isolate themselves into either positivity or negativity. That beautiful blend is actually what makes people like so unique.
Sure.
So honestly, I find with a lot of people, they want to suppress that, but they're suppressing a part of themselves. And bringing light to this and just doing this and making it a public thing, it gives a platform to other people to see that it's not that bad, it's not that gross, and it's not shameful to feel certain ways.
Right.
And I really like the concept of it, and that was just my interpretation of it.
Good,
and I
yeah.
really did like it. Just, and personally, it speaks to me because I do, as much as I get goofy, I do actually suffer with a lot of like mental issues, I would say, myself.
I think
and
we
like,
all do it. It's just who's willing to admit it and who's willing to talk about
and
it.
that's it. And I honestly think, like, with this, like, even watching it myself, I do still post like stuff about myself and I try to put it out there, but even seeing it after doing all this, it gives me also a sense of security when I see it. So I could just imagine how somebody else who hasn't put their voice out. So that's where I really think this is a really positive movement. In a sense. I
appreciate that, and I love the support. And I always like to get other people's opinions on it, right?
Yeah,
because it kind of says something about how their upbringing as well, and are they open-minded, and do they kind of understand it? Well, but you're absolutely right about the whole pleasure and pain. I mean, suicide is something that obviously let's face it, it's been a part of my life. As if you've been watching, I lost a best friend to suicide, and it's something that had maybe I've been more comfortable talking about and knowing that, hey, suicide is something that we can talk about. We're not going to put it in their heads as if we talk about it openly. We might actually be able to prevent it.
Yeah, and that's something that's very important. Like, even myself, I've survived 2 suicide attempts. And
really?
Yeah, I've done that twice, and honestly, with just like seeing other people doing that, and I've also lost a friend actually just about a couple months ago, and I apologize for your loss as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you.
That was the thing, and it's because of that suppression. And even these people, they are the most outgoing, bubbly people. They're smiley, they're laughy, and all this stuff. It's like overcompensation at the end of the day.
Right.
Because it's, again, putting that face on, putting on your people suit. As my favorite show, I'm quoting Hannibal, if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
The people suit is my favorite reference because it is true. People are often willing to just mask over everything just to keep an image that doesn't even actually represent who they are.
Sure.
Like, they can't even recognize themselves in the mirror.
Right.
And that's something that I find it's really detrimental to your health. It's going to cause that depression to be amplified, your anxiety to be amplified, and things like that. It's not really, there's a quote that Ahmed likes to say actually from time to time.
Ahmed, yeah, so Kimmi brought Ahmed, her boyfriend, here as well. So Ahmed, if you want to say your quote, you're more than welcome to jump in here.
The insanity quote.
Oh, that insanity is just repeating the same behavior over and over again, expecting different results.
Exactly.
Right. If you don't learn a lesson from it, what are the outcomes going to be the same?
And the same thing is with depression. So when you don't talk and you don't talk and you don't talk, you're still feeling this way. And you're keeping a positive look to your peers, but you're not fixing that problem.
Right.
You're literally masking over. It's like when you take Advil to get rid of a headache. It's not getting rid of the headache, it's meeting the symptom.
Sure.
And I'm not against pharmaceuticals or anything like
that.
I'm
Fair
just
enough.
saying, like,
Fair
as
enough.
an example, you can always find the root of where that headache comes from versus suppressing what that headache feels like.
Right.
And that's something, it's just an analogy in the sense that doing that to yourself, it can cause more detrimental damage. And this is where you find a lot of people committing suicide. A lot of soldiers do that as well. They're trained to keep face and keep professional. And that is a huge pressure on their mental health as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's actually, my friend just passed away from that, and he was in the military.
Really?
And that's something I don't know for sure, but my interpretation is, I do think that is an introspective to what happened.
Right. So that and that's one of the reasons I felt that same way. Like my best buddy was an MMA fighter, and he, wanted to have that sort of keep things in, didn't really want to talk about it, and when he did want to talk about it, it was usually an outburst.
Yeah,
like about a flood of emotion.
Yeah, and they often say anger is fear, frustration, or confusion.
Right.
So when you have that, it's like, you're frustrated with that feeling, you're sick of feeling that way, and it's just like, how can I get rid of this? And
right.
It literally, it's almost like a wounded cat. The cat wants to get help, but all it's going to do is scratch at you.
Yeah.
And that's something that it's what depression is. Depression will cause you to lash out because you want someone to come in, but you don't know how to accept it anymore because you've worked so hard on pushing them away.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people, I find, they really do suffer with. It's the ability to speak. It's not the ability that they know what they feel.
Right.
They are well aware of how they feel, but they don't know how to project it and fix it. And that's something because people are told that when you're depressed, you're negative, you're dramatic, you're this. And unfortunately, that's muting people.
Sure.
So I honestly think it's just more of a minimalization that causes people to end up not wanting to talk.
Okay, so you find obviously that vocalizing and just even just being open and honest about when you're going through something like that, it helps you get through it, does it not? Or
100%. I find it through the discomfort you get forced into a comfort. I like with myself personally. I don't think all depressions can be treated the same.
Sure.
But I do think there is an aspect of going outside that comfort zone, and the comfort zone of talking is a big one. So like I had to force myself out to talk about it, and it's still to this day is very difficult, but it's one of those things that I just keep thinking like I gotta put this out there, and I don't know what like really drives to actually make it an action, but it's the residing fact is I don't want someone else to feel the same way I feel, but feel alone.
Right.
And like personally myself, I'm a very isolated person. I stick to myself.
Sure.
So
yeah. No,
I feel alone a lot. So that's me reaching out and also me expressing myself. It's almost like shaking pop, and then you just take the lid open and it just gets rid of that pressure.
Right.
And with speaking, it takes away an action that you want to do. So I think that's something that a lot of people think it's a cry for help, or they're trying to get attention, but at the end of the day, attention is something that actually is a way to fix depression.
Sure.
Paying attention to depression is a huge factor.
Sure.
So yeah.
So do you think that, if you don't mind me asking, so what was it that led to your suicide attempts? Was it just being depressed? Was it anxiety that led to depression?
Well, I've suffered with depression since I was about 12, 13. I was in a hardcore religious family.
Okay.
My family has definitely become a lot more liberal, but I've definitely...
Do you think you played a factor in that?
I would definitely say I played a factor in that.
Okay.
But I honestly must say, like, from that, I had a lot of really bad depression. I was in some pretty volatile relationships, and there's no hatred towards side people.
Yeah.
But it was a volatile situation, and I will take that to my last breath. And it was a point where it had become so accumulative that my own depression, on top of my situational depression, it became so overpowering that I couldn't handle it. The first time I ended up slicing my wrist, the reason why I have tattoos all over my arm is I actually have like slices that I actually end up punching through, and they weren't little cuts, they were really bad. I ended up taking a mirror and...
Really?
And I was pretty aggressive, but I was probably about 17, and yes, young, but at the same point, very real. And then the second time I was about 20, and I ended up actually almost successfully hanging myself in a basement of a friend's house.
Wow.
And the only reason why it stopped is the person that I was having actually the issues with the first suicide attempt, he actually had come in and untied me. I couldn't even get myself out. And the first moment when you drop, you want to do it. And you still want to, don't get me wrong.
Like, you mean you want to hang... Sorry if we're getting a little graphic here.
You wanted to do it, but then you do it, and then that moment of regret. Moment of fuck.
Really?
And it's not because you don't want to succeed. Then it's like, fuck, this is real. This is something I gotta face now.
Yeah.
And it's very intimidating. And I honestly must say, because I still suffer with severe depression.
Okay.
But my actions now I use my voice.
Yeah.
I use my voice as my blade, as my rope, as whatever method someone wants to use. I use it, and it's been the best medication. I do not take medication.
Yeah.
I refuse. I personally, it's my personal beliefs.
Yeah. No, I don't either.
Yeah, and I don't say it's bad. If someone wants to do it and it's a coping mechanism, you know what? That's wonderful. Me, I'm trying one other one before I get to that step.
Sure.
And I think voicing it is actually one of the best things I've ever done. Because as much as it is graphic in this conversation, I'm still here.
Yep.
And this conversation is because of those situations, and it's helped me also stop other people that I know.
Right.
And it helps me also understand when people are going through this. I understand some aspect of it, and I think that anybody that goes through depression, it's the same aspect. They all perceive it in their own. They kind of walk a mile in their shoes when they hear these stories of people that are in depression. And that's why I say, talking about it, you're not really, it's not just you exposing your story, you might be paraphrasing someone else's.
Sure. And
that's where I honestly found that, like, I started seeing posts, a lot of people were just being more honest about it, and that got me to start doing it. And I think talking about it was the most therapeutic thing I've ever done. But like, I must admit, like, those are things that I'm not proud of, but I'm glad I went through them and didn't succeed, so that I can try to stop somebody or tell someone what it's like to attempt and to realize that things will get better.
Sure.
And that cliche term is very temporary. It's very temporary. Things will never stay better.
Right.
But you need to have the contrast before you have the color.
Right.
You need to have it, because if you don't know what bad is, how are you going to ever know what good is in comparison?
I agree 100%, and I think that you're right. There's a cliche saying that, this too shall pass, right? And it's, unfortunately, it goes for the good things and for the bad things.
Another one I really don't like is when people try to say other people have it worse.
Right.
It's not. what other people feel that's making you feel like crap.
Right,
So
right.
stop using that term. We should just make that a big thing. Stop using those terms
Right.
because those terms are just being like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're saying. Shut
Sure.
up. Your problem is not that big. And then when someone does succeed, that's when, oh, I don't know how that happened. And it's those voices that were trying to be told, but they were muted.
Right.
And that's something I think that doing things like this and putting it out there is showing people that talk about it. Don't care if someone doesn't want to support you for it, just keep talking. Keep talking through it because it will make more sense when it's out of your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something I think is very important.
Absolutely. Well, good for you. That's amazing. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, you and I have never talked about the attempts of suicide, but I'm really glad that you shared your story with us. And I'm sorry you went through any of that.
No, honestly, it's.
You never would have gotten to whip my ass though had you
No,
succeeded.
see,
These are the things. The bright.
Things get better.
Yes, things get better.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at everything as a learning experience now. So like, as each wave of depression comes, I'm trying my hardest. Like, trust me, I get to lows. Like, I get to lows.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm gonna restart the new day. If it's low tomorrow, okay, then I'll just try something a little different. Like, I'll do my art. I'll talk to somebody. I'll post on Facebook. I'm definitely really bad for my Facebook posts. I love doing all that stuff. So
that's okay.
That's how I do it. It's projecting. You have to do that. You have to let it out.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think that there's sort of, if you're using social media as an outlet tool and it's helping you get through tough times, then there's absolutely no harm in that.
And there isn't. And a lot of people will think, again, the negative and all that stuff, negative is going to be everywhere you go, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, just because it's negative, it's real. It's a human experience that, honestly, I don't find it right to minimize that. And, like, a lot of people will, and it's still taboo. But the more people do it, the more comfortable you're going to notice. I get inboxes from women and men all over, and they message me after I post really extreme posts, and it's me telling my own story, but I'll get messages of them, huge rants of them opening up their hearts, and they're just literally telling everybody, just like telling me like what they've gone through, and then that they want to say something, but they don't want to put it out there because they don't want anyone to be upset. Their family will be upset. Yeah. And to rant to my inbox, I guess, is helping them. And even if I don't get it for a couple hours, I'll get multi messages of them kind of working through their stuff because they're getting it out to somebody.
Yep. No, I agree.
It's better than a piece of paper. A lot of people say write it down, write it down. Sometimes you just want ears.
Sure.
Somebody to know that there's somebody retaining what you were saying.
Absolutely.
And that's something that's very important. Is I think giving voices to people that suffer with mental illness, whether it's benign or whether it's very big problem, that aspect of itself, like, you know, I just think it's fundamental. It's fundamental to just give them that voice. And if no one wants to listen, you know what, just give them the platform to speak and just let them go. Yeah. Because that's how I think it's the most therapeutic thing to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I think that everything that you said has a lot of merit to it. And yeah, absolutely. I'm really impressed that you have all this insight, because it's like, you know, bringing someone on that I didn't know you had I understood that maybe you had some anxiety and some depression, but you've obviously had a lot of experience with how to deal with it too. And what's working for you will definitely, you know, maybe not help everyone, but it could help that one person that needs to hear it.
And I do emphasize that it's not something that I say as a generalized thing about how to fix things. It's just an alternative that I do encourage. If you have tried everything else, you've tried every avenue, but not speaking, try it. Yeah, I honestly suggest trying it, because like no matter what, you're gonna always hit those lows, but it's gonna be a lot easier to manage when you know how to manage them. Right. And that's something I can honestly say over the last couple of years I've really been working on, and it's become a lot more easier. Still difficult, but a lot more easier.
I agree. I think that some of it comes with age too, and maturity. I think if you just give it a little more time, things get. I don't want to say easier, but I want to say that you become maybe less affected by some of the things that you were once affected by.
You mute yourself to it, and like after a while, like after constant experiences and realizing like losing control is the best way to regain it. So every time you lose a sense of yourself, lose sense of your job, you're gonna regain it, because it puts that fire under your ass again. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they need that, and like tough love. That's how I learned the best from it. And like same concept as how you approach anything in your life. Like you have to sometimes do the hard things to get to the good things. Right. So that's something like I think is synonymous with a lot of people. A lot of people do find that they try to kind of go around all the hard stuff, and sometimes you got to face it straight on. Take it, then learn how to cope with it, continue on, and learn from it. Because once you know your history, you can prevent repeating it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's super important too.
Yeah, the interesting thing that I'm finding, just from sort of doing this sort of show and having people on here, is the younger people that have been on, even if something's happening in their life at the moment, they kind of put it aside and they just want to plow through.
Yeah.
And because, you know what, the world's a big, bright world. They've got, all this pressure on them. They got to get through school, whatever they're getting through. And then eventually you see sort of people kind of come into their 30s, and it's like, oh shit, now all this stuff is coming up that I put aside. Eventually you will have to deal with it.
And that's it. Like, that's where I say talking is like with a pop bottle. It's kind of the same concept. You shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Once you release that pressure, it's going to be, when you shake it up again, it's not going to be as intense. Like, and that's a lot of people, like they find themselves in this kind of continuous rut. Stagnation is a really bad thing for your long-term health.
Right.
Like, you wanting to avoid it and putting it on the back burner, it does come back, like you say. It comes forward, and that's something that a lot of people need to learn how to cope with the now.
Yeah.
Accept what they have, accept that they cannot change certain things.
Sure.
And then just move past it. Days will go, times will fade.
Yep.
And that's something that happens. Everything
Right.
happens. I used to think that it was the worst thing in the world when this one girl didn't like me in high school. I don't even remember her name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think
understand that.
yeah, that's key. So I mean, anyone that's kind of younger, and that's a very impressionable time when you do care about what other people think. You do want to be popular. Fucking social media probably isn't helping any of these young age groups, right?
Now.
But we're trying to help you by doing it this way. And just remember, as we're saying right now, the people that we wished had liked us back in the day, we don't even remember them now.
No,
so
not at
I
all.
mean, don't worry about putting time and energy into people that aren't going to give a shit about you in return. That's just life.
Yeah, exactly. And
You know?
honestly, it's the little things that you have to appreciate, because like those little bursts of good, like they will come and they will amplify each time. And it's just more, you have to be willing to expose yourself to the possibility that you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
And that's like a huge thing for a lot of these even younger people. They expect it to come so easy, and it's like, no, you will appreciate it 10 times more when you work for it. Like,
you will.
Super important.
And that's the thing, is a lot of the times you're gonna have to, like, life has a way of really teaching you some fucked up lessons.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of clarity while you're in the middle of fucking it up.
Absolutely. I know. I think I mean. But when you expect something to come so easily, sure, it does to some people. And you're right, they won't appreciate it. But some of the people that learn the hard way, like you're saying, I mean, they appreciate it so much more when it's there. And when they've gone through all that shit, the emotional growth that happens during that time is, it can be unbelievable.
And that's the thing, be grateful for these hard experiences, because like if you use them as a muse to project yourself towards new goals. Like 2 years ago, I could not even recognize myself. And when I see it now, and like the new things I'm interested in, new goals, new things that I'm taking up, people I'm around, things I'm doing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My depression would not allow me to even remotely come close to fantasizing those dreams.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people, I think that they relate to. They know that depression makes you kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And
it's a sticky thing.
Yeah. So talking about it, going out and doing stuff, pushing yourself outside comfort zones, giving whatever you're dealing with a voice, and not letting it control you. Like, just say fuck it. Like, post it, say whatever you have to do, write it in a diary, put a stick in a stand and freaking write a letter. Whatever makes you feel better, do it. But like, I find that it's that action. They need to take that action and to feel comfortable. And that's the thing where when I speak more about people need to feel comfortable, it's the people that are trying to suppress as well. They need to also be open to the fact that people are different. And honestly, those people that usually try to suppress, they're dealing with a lot of stuff too.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, it's one of those things where they say that, people are sometimes garbage men, right? Where it's like, listen, they're going to dump their garbage on you. You just have to choose whether or not you're going to accept that garbage and give it to someone else.
Exactly.
Or just, put up your shield.
Well, and that's it. And like, a lot of people have their shields up so much that after a certain point, we're not really working together.
That's right.
Like, we totally, like, a lot of people, like, once you start intermingling with people and just getting to know, you'll realize there's a lot of people that are just like you. Like, I'm just starting to get back out and socializing, thanks to Ahmed especially.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
We'll get into
Lovely.
Yeah. And but it was like with him, like, I had a big issue with transitioning into meeting like a new social circle. I have a couple of my friends I've lost in the last little bit, like I mentioned. I've had a very close friend of mine move far away from her loss. So like that traumatic loss in itself, I felt more alone than anything, and to have him show me that no, that's not the case. And I met some wonderful people. Like, I've met some amazing people, and they have showed me that they too, with their smiles all over their face, suffer from the same thing. And that it gives you a sense of camaraderie. You're feeling kind of, it gives you a more human sense.
Sure.
It's like you're not this freak of nature that has this fucked up feeling.
Yeah.
It's not you rewired all mess. Because yes, there is a science behind the depression. But you also realize that there is a frequency in depression. And that is something I think that is natural in human beings. And human beings naturally are affected by their situations. We evolved because we socialize. So the anti-socialism causes you to feel depressed.
Sure.
There's a lot of correlations to our natural human anatomy that we're very likely to feel really low for a long time, a short time, for a split second. But it's something that people need to be willing to embrace, that that's actually a part of who we are as just people. Because I've noticed that seeing these people that I would, back in the day, I'd be so, they have like such a perfect idea, perfect life, they're so positive, and like I would want to emulate them, just to talk to them on a personal level, to see that they're exactly the same as me. I'm like, this is the people suit I was talking about. So that's it. Like, I definitely must say, like, going out and taking yourself out of those realms, it really does. Any mental illness, anything, when it comes to something that causes you physical discomfort that you can't see, putting yourself out, that's what you have to do. Put yourself out there and surround yourself with people that are open-minded to retain what you're feeling, not push it away. Like, I understand not babying it, but at the same point, everybody needs a support team. And who's to say which scenario is more important than another? Right. So that's where it's really difficult to kind of shove off someone's feelings without actually weighing in, like, it may not mean something to me, but it really seems to affect them. And that's something I think a lot of people keep kind of overlooking, is that it's something that's detrimental to them, whether it seems silly or not. It's a huge deal in their world.
Do you think that that's sort of, do you think we're coming as a society and as humanity in general, do you think we're becoming more empathetic towards these people, or do you think that that's still an issue? Do you think that we're still not able to feel?
I think we're on a cusp.
We're on a cusp.
Yeah,
do you think it's like a bit of a turning point potentially?
It's a turning point because we have people empathizing with like communities now. We have, like I said, the LGBT. We have even like people that are the hardcore libertarians, as we like to call them, for refugees. Things like this. We have so many different avenues we're trying to empathize with, but we've got a lot of resistance still. And same thing with mental illness. Mental illness is a huge thing. To just get someone to speak out sometimes takes some real forcing. And unfortunately, that is just ingrained in society, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take people being exposed to stuff like this and having access to this type of media, because things like this, remember, everyone's impressionable, and we live for social media. Everything we care about is connected through social media in some aspect, whether it's our food that was taken a picture of when the barista took it, like, doesn't matter. It's always tied to technology. So when we use that, like, we can use it for a greater good. We can also use it for something that makes us kind of more interconnected. I think if we keep trying to pull ourselves away from it, it's no.
I appreciate what you're saying. And I think that the one thing I found on here that I found is really unique, more so than anything else, is there's two terms here. There's two ways you can go on this show. We'll talk about anything and everything, right?
Literally.
But but you either have the chance of talking about your sex life, kind of, you know, in relationships or sex in general, or we can talk about mental health and like in the trials and tribulations you've kind of had to go through and overcome. More people are drawn, I'm finding,
to pain and suffering.
To talk about this than I'm like,
it's so. See, though, people thrive off seeing that there's faults in these people that we look at as invincible, as kind of otherworldly in the sense, because when you look at like celebrities and things like that, you never ever think, I wonder if they're depressed, or I wonder if they have anxiety. Are they nervous right now giving that speech? Like, you never think that. You think they got it. And that's something that I think even in Facebook, Instagram, like, if someone were to see me online, they might think, I'm super confident, but actually, like, some days I feel like I'm only this big. And that's something that, honestly, like, I do think that it's just, I would say that, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I mean, you're talking about celebrities and not knowing whether or not they can go.
But it's the look. It's the look of how people just think that everything's fine. Everything's like just masked over. And it's not. A lot of people are actually, they want to see that there's, I remember my thought now.
There you go.
They want to see they want to see the humanity to it. Whether it's, as much as it is negative, they want to see that. They want to see that these people actually do deal with other issues. It's kind of nice to not see, like, everyone that looks like they have a kind of a cookie cutter life, it's kind of nice sometimes to see that they also suffer with some stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's, as sick as that sounds, it's a human thing. It's,
well, it feels more real and genuine, right? Like, because we know that, yeah.
You're seeing the negative and the positive. This is where I'm saying it blends. And this is where people like that because, again, it's a relatability.
Yeah.
And honestly, I must admit, like, especially with social media now, we got such high standards. We have, like, filters washing away, like, pores, like, things like this.
You can't fucking believe any pictures that are on there anymore. They're complete lies.
Not at all. And you really can't. And that's the super disappointing thing is that a lot of people, they see these images, even with, like, myself, like, half my photos, like, I Photoshop the shit out of them. Just saying.
Well, at least you admit it,
and
right?
And that's the thing. Like, I am very, like, I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. So I'm just coincidentally on a canvas, coincidentally at the same time. But that's the thing. Like, people don't pay attention to that. Like, they gloss over that. It's just an image. And this image has been tweaked with lighting. It's been tweaked with all these things. And people don't see that. They just see this perfect face.
Right.
And that's, I think, where it kind of takes that humanity out. So when they see that negative stuff, or they hear about negative stuff, it's not that they want to see negative. It's nice to know that there is that contrast.
Right.
And that's something that I think with you doing this kind of stuff, it is showing people that there is a humanitarian, like human kind of like vibe going with it. The people you bring on are all very like successful. They're intelligent. They're very outgoing. You would never expect walking down the street to know that the stories that they've gone through.
Sure.
And that's something even with yourself.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that you've gone through.
Yeah.
Look, like meeting you at the shop, I never was like rationalizing those two scenarios.
Right.
And like doing that and blending the two, again, it's that human.
Yeah. Well, I was on a not a big anti-anxiety drug at that time. I think it was Cipralex that I was taking at that time. But I've gone through phases, and that was one of them where I was on medication because I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on my own. I might need the help of that little fucking pill to get me through this.
Well, that's why I smoke weed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying weed's like a cure-all.
There's been a few
I still feel depressed with dope.
There's been a few people that have been on here that have said, you know, for me, that actually has the opposite effect. I'm one of the people that get more anxiety. My heart starts pounding. So obviously, I mean, for me, weed doesn't do the trick. For some people, it does.
Yeah, and that's where I'm saying every aspect of a person, it has to be individually diagnosed, and this is where it's difficult where you give them a pill because like for you, like you seem like a person that being proactive is a big thing that pushes you towards things.
Absolutely.
And like that's something that me and you I think both share. But somebody that needs these medications because it works perfectly. I see people that jump between medications and then they finally find one. There's so many different like coping mechanisms. It's so hard to hone in on the one that's just for you.
It is.
It really is hard.
And it's an experiment too. Even the doctors with the medications, they don't know what's going on in here just as much as you do. They have to test it. So I remember that like through all my early 20s, I was on and off of these drugs, and I felt like a fucking lab rat for a little bit, right?
Well, and that's understandable too, because like you also don't know how it's going to affect you in the hormonal imbalance. Because like because like if your body responds negatively to it, it can amplify your symptoms. Sure. So that's where it's really hard, and these doctors really do try to like really like finesse like which proper pill you should be on. But it's unfortunate though that some people, they're so quick to self-diagnose, they don't want to get the medical help. And then
or they're impatient too, because those take, you know,
take
2 to 3.
They pop them when they're sad, but it's like you have to continuously dose yourself.
Yeah, you have to take 2 to 3 weeks. So that's where I was bad too. I'd be like, you know, I'd be in there and I'd be like, yeah, are you taking your medication? Yeah, but I'm also, you know, drinking and staying out for 2 days doing a bunch of blow. So obviously I can't expect to feel amazing.
Well, and also diet. I have actually suffered from a really severe eating disorder. I actually went through anorexia for a while. I also had my drug addictions, which coincided. I used to be about 250 pounds.
Really?
I was a little chunky monkey.
Wow.
And it was great because like when I was younger, I was healthy. I loved my food, all this stuff. It took one comment from a teacher that told me I was too fat, and I was like, fuck this. I'm not going to eat anymore. I like maybe ate a meal a week. If I was eating throughout the day, it'd be like crumbs. And like from that, my depression went
no kidding.
And actually until probably I want to say about 4 months ago, like I honestly would say like my eating disorder is starting to become manageable now.
Good.
Like it's taking years, and like honestly, even with like your diet though, your diet changes your feeling.
Yes.
Because I was deprived of all this nutrition. I was waking up tired. I was waking up sore. I was miserable, like irritable as hell. What they call hangry.
Yeah. I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
I do like my food, and I honestly, from eating more, as much as like my depression is still there, which I keep saying, because I'm not trying to say that it's gone, because you can never just get rid of it.
Right.
It takes a long time. It takes experience.
You become better at managing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And the frequency goes down once you figure out the proper coping.
Right.
Like coping techniques.
Sure. And when you're not afraid of it.
That's it. And that's a huge thing is, like I said, putting that mask on it's just like hiding like a monster in the dark. You know it's there, and it could just pop out at any moment, and that's where it catches you off guard. But eating is a huge thing. As much as like even with myself, I still have a huge issue with it. Like it takes a lot. Getting out of anorexia, anybody who has been through it, super difficult. And to get all pumped for food now and like do that, it's changing my mind. It's changing how I think. It's changing how I approach things, my energy.
So food is medicine in a way.
Food is medicine.
Okay.
Eat lots of spinach.
Okay.
So it's very important.
Okay.
But like that's the thing though, is like when I look at like you have to look at all those factors because it's situational, it's long term. You have diet, you have exposure to your people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, sure.
And when you are around negative things, like getting possibly arrested, things like that, like the taboo things that are supposed to stay taboo, like those bad things, being exposed to that, also another way to bring yourself into depression, because when you lose it, because I used to have, like I said, my drug addictions, I was in jail, I've had some fun.
Okay.
I say that with a joke, but but that's the thing.
Probably wasn't funny at the time.
Not at the time.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like I've done some stupid stuff, and from that, like when I lost everybody, when I wanted to give it up, I lost all those people. And to have to start again, start from scratch, that amplified depression again. So like who you expose yourself to, and if they're negative in your life and they won't be there long term, you're just setting yourself up for more exposure to different situations that could make you feel less than adequate. Mm-hmm. And that's something that a lot of people kind of like, again, gloss over. Oh, we've known each other 10 years, 15 years. If this 10-year or 15-year friend is willing to let you do things that are detrimental to your health or your future, that's going to come back. These people that...
It's not worth it.
Yeah, people that drop out of school that are depressed now that they have a shit-paying job. And even with myself, I didn't graduate high school. I had to go back and pay for all my colleges and catch up for everything. It was ridiculous because I was watching people my age having these exquisite jobs, and I'm sitting there making paper. That was what I used to do. Yeah, I used to make freaking paper. So that's a pretty lame thing.
So you were comparing yourself?
Yeah. And you do it, and that's something that...
I know we do it.
It's your
fucking
social.
every day.
It's your social. Like if you're around people that are successful, you want to be successful. It inspires you.
But what's your definition of success, right? I mean, those people could have been completely miserable, and you could have been content with what you're doing. This
is true, but like if you look at it in the sense of, is what I'm doing going to be something I need in the future? If it's something like your character is the easiest thing to break and the hardest thing to make. Mm-hmm. It is the most difficult thing to even define. And when you have people that are kind of directing the way it's supposed to be projected, oh, I'm going to be a hard ass when I'm with these people because it looks cool, or I'm going to go and rob somebody or fight somebody or just be a piece of shit or just something like that. You're setting yourself up, because even if deep down inside you know that you don't want to be like that and you don't think it's going to be long term, why eliminate all that time to succeed in whatever fashion? You can be the best nude model in the world, or you can become a porn star, or you can become a sex therapist. Doesn't matter. But as long as you put your energy into something that actually means something to you. If it's something that's temporarily making you feel good, the longevity of it is counterproductive.
Yeah, sure.
Like there is things that you can enjoy, little like bursts of like excessive pleasure, but things that are going to affect your long run, that's going to set you up for depression as well. It's who you're around. Yeah. And the mindset that they project. I see tons of people that are in these stagnant mentalities, and they hang out and they kind of just sit and they don't go to work and things like that. And that's really hard on them because they're depressed. They don't have money. Yeah. And they're depressed. They don't have things to do. That's the thing. Like you have to analyze. Every person needs to analyze themselves. Sure. And they have to break it down.
Not every person's willing to do that, though.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what this is really about too. Is bringing on people like yourself that aren't afraid to say, hey, this is all the shit that I went through. I own it. A lot of it was caused by myself. 100%. I'm hoping that you guys will learn from my mistakes. Yeah. I know when I was younger, people could have come on the show and told me everything, and I still wouldn't have fucking listened. Yeah. I still would have had to do it myself. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that there will be those people that at least don't feel alone and they know that they can come and reach out. And
sometimes people that, they do feel alone, like they're living in the situations I'm talking about where it's detrimental to themselves. And it doesn't have to always be extreme, but I do find that it is a pyramid scheme. There is tons of layers to it. There's so many bricks to it. You have a lot of people that they just kind of think, oh, it's just my chemical imbalance. No, it's a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And with when it comes to these types of people, yes, they may not want to retain it publicly, but you never know who's gonna be creeping your Facebook or creeping the pages or just searching suicide.
Right.
And things like this, it pops up.
Right.
You never know what you're gonna change their mindset. For me, it was something as simple as Robin Williams, with his suicide.
Fuck, that was a big one.
That was so sad. Yeah. And I still I just watched Hook a month ago. Yeah. Tribute to the dude. He was awesome. He still is.
He is.
Yeah, he is. He's the king of comedy. I don't care. Doubtfire all the way. Yeah. But that's the thing though, is that man has projected his whole life to make someone happy, and he was even miserable.
Yeah.
And that was because he's in this public eye. He didn't put that out there that much.
No.
And that's the thing with a lot of people. The more public it is, the more relatable. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god. And it was a reality check to myself. Even though I'm not no celebrity and I'm not somebody that's dealing with everything he's dealing with, it's the fact that someone like him is feeling the same way as someone like me.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's, I
think,
think,
we're all equals at the end of the day. We're all human, and that's
And that's where I think the access to this is the best thing to actually be putting out there, is putting out the realism. Mm-hmm. That's it. Don't filter yourself, don't censor yourself. If you want to be that honest about who you are, speak. Speak about it, because a lot of people are so scared, and when they do it, man, it's amazing to see the relief that washes over their face.
I agree. 100%. So Kimmi has now given us a ton of stuff on anxiety, depression, coping skills, how she's dealt with it. Now let's get into the happy side of things, because we have a gentleman here.
Yes.
Tell me about Hello. And tell me about how long has this been going on?
It's only been a couple months.
Okay.
But we pretty much
phase.
Well, we just said 4 months yesterday.
Yeah, 4 months.
4 months.
Actually, it's been really nice, because in the sense, I just got out, well, not just got out, a couple of years ago. I got into, I was in a 3-year relationship, had a very bad breakup, actually spiraled me back into my depression, which caused me to do some of the art and stuff that you see actually that I post now.
Yeah.
But actually with meeting him, I must say, one, it feels like I've known you forever.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really nice. It's refreshing. Intellectually, we very much get along, and it's really great because honestly, I don't think I've ever had somebody that I can actually articulate my feelings with and have them dish right back with the same intelligence. And I love that. It's really refreshing.
Cool.
And then on top of that, he's got a wide variety of interests and a perspective that I've never experienced before. He's very calm and genuine.
You seem very laid back, for sure. I like it. Yeah.
I try.
You've got a good calming energy just sitting there, for sure.
He's wonderful. He's the most positive person I've ever known. He literally doesn't he doesn't get angry. He's very collected. He evaluates a situation, responds to it accordingly, and it's something I actually emulate. I wish I could actually emulate so much. I admire you so much for that.
You're too sweet.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is it's about that balance, and he's definitely brought me to a balance. Even last night, he was sitting there explaining to me that I overthink. I'm really bad for overthinking.
Sure. Yeah.
And he was explaining the reasons and what it could do to change my life if I tried not to overthink, and he was right.
Mm-hmm. What did you say to her?
Well, I was freaking out about work.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Basically, you can think of every worst case scenario. At the end of the day, it's just going to be normal.
Yeah, sure.
You're just basically going to be going back to not essentially square one, but it's just going to be another day. You're going to get past it.
Yep.
And you're not essentially going to repeat the cycle, but it's a brand new experience.
Yeah.
And you can start anew. You don't have to carry on what happened from the past day and expect the absolute worst to occur the next.
Sure.
Why basically put yourself in a pit of woe and doubt and basically make yourself suffer, torture yourself for hours, if not even days, months, years, and
you're going to remember it.
Exactly. Yeah. When at the end of the day, realistically, you're not experiencing what you think you're going to experience.
Right. We always build things up. So basically what you're saying is it's unless it's a life or death situation, most of the time it's way worse in our minds.
Exactly. There's a billion different outcomes.
Right.
And in life, you always have options. They're not always the best of options, but you always have options no matter what.
Sure. You have the choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like you're just given a hammer and you start expecting everything to be a nail.
Right.
You literally have this multi-tool that you can use towards anything, and it's just dependent on how you want to actually visualize that.
Right.
You can get yourself stuck in a pit of woe way too easily, I find.
Absolutely. Very cool
See what I'm
insight.
saying?
Yeah.
He's super smart and super refreshing. So that's why, like, I must say, like, that this relationship is definitely something I must say, even in the short duration of time, the 3-year relationship I was in was what actually, I think emotionally, it definitely put me into a very stagnant state. It was a very horrible experience, and I honestly, like, was pretty much like how I said, woe is me, and I thought I was going to never ever come across a human being with an ounce of compassion.
Right.
And I come across this one, and he literally...
What a lucky girl.
Yeah, he's literally just...
Or I'm
been
the lucky
so,
one.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Yeah.
So he's literally been just nothing but an excellent support team. Like, I can honestly say in the 3 years I lived with the person, and I didn't feel as supported as I feel in this situation. I think that I had to go outside my comfort zone. I had to actually go and talk to him. And it was something that, honestly, as much as it is really fresh, I honestly feel it's a lot more genuine than something I had long term. And sometimes somebody that walks into your life very randomly sometimes has the best intentions for you than somebody that's been there long term.
So you're kind of saying that everyone shows up for a purpose. So pay attention. Get your
100%.
fucking head out of your phone.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Because
Unless you're watching this.
Unless you're watching this. Keep watching. But that's the thing, though, is like, I do think that every single person has a significant reason to be in your life. And, like, even think about this. Like, me and you met, like, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We've seen each other briefly.
Yeah.
And then here we are today.
Absolutely.
And that's maybe something that we were meant to meet for multiple reasons.
Sure.
Like, definitely, I gotta say, like, I think everybody has a purpose, and when you meet them, whether they're good or bad, because like the one I was talking about earlier, yes, he was a very bad experience, but it was wonderful because I actually opened my eyes and kind of got my head out of my ass,
right,
and realized that there's so much more out there. I got into my new photography, which was
awesome,
taboo but fun,
yeah,
and I actually got my confidence like a lot higher. I got way more social in the sense of being honest about who I am and trying to talk. As much as I am private, I do really try to put myself out there, and it is still hard, but it's become easier from all those bad things. It's making it worth it. It's like, oh well, if you're not going to be there tomorrow, at least let's make today a little bit better,
right? Like,
and not every day is like that, but it's a new approach. And I think from being exposed to people with such refreshing mindsets and such genuine spirits, it's really changed how I think. Like, I gotta say, like I said, I feel like I've known him forever because the mindset, I couldn't recognize myself 4 months ago.
Right.
And it's, again, I said that about 2 years ago, and it's those random moments that you least expect it. I was in a pit of depression a week before I actually went on our date. I was in a pit of depression. My friend actually had to drag me out of my freaking bed to get me out, to talk to me, to shake my head and be like, chill, breathe, because my depression was so bad. And I was at a pretty bad low. Yeah. And all of a sudden, he walks in my life and it's like, flip.
That's
and
awesome.
It's wonderful. I've never ever experienced something like this. So I think that, again, as much as it is a short term, I would never minimize the experience. I would actually amplify it 100%.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So about yourself, I mean, you seem like a very calm, cool, collected guy now. Have you ever dealt with depression yourself, or are you okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah? So you have a handle on how to, like, with each other, how to be compassionate when you're in those sort of states of mind.
It's all about that mutual understanding, right?
Right.
So I definitely suffered from things like depression, anxiety, and it's stuff that hasn't exactly been easily fleeting.
Right.
But at the same time, it's something that once you kind of gain an understanding of it and kind of put some reins on it, you basically kind of think like, okay, this is all in my head.
Yeah.
This is something that I can still kind of gauge, kind of keep tabs on, and still kind of not let it kind of like blind me or put kind of like blinders on me.
Sure.
It's too easy to kind of get lost in thoughts, like I was saying before.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to have that sense of realism that not everything is the way you think it's going to be. And as soon as you actually come to terms with that, and as soon as you genuinely believe that, it takes a huge load off your shoulders. Because you start to actually think like, I'm going to be wrong a lot of the time, and that's a good thing.
Sure, I agree. And then, so you're kind of getting at the point of maybe not setting out expectations. I mean, because most of the time, things are not going to turn out how you expect. Life, you can't control life. things are going to come up that you have no control over, and you're just going to have to learn how to let that be.
It's all about enduring. Like I absolutely believe in setting expectations, setting goals, fighting towards them.
Okay.
I 110% believe that. That's what I mean. That's what I would think everyone's trying to do.
Of yourself or of other people, though?
Myself.
Yes.
And
okay.
I think other people, that's what they want to try and achieve, but it once again comes down to that whole understanding of how to do it.
Right.
Because a lot of people kind of get misguided with what they want. It's not that they actually want to be happy or anything. They want to make a lot of money. They want material items, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then you go ahead, you get all those things, and it's just still, there's that little pit inside of you that's not filling.
Right.
So you look for other ways of doing it. Some people would turn towards religion. Some people would turn towards just being a scholar, scientist, focusing on whatever little niche you can.
Right. For fulfillment, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that although like anything like that can be very important, a lot of people still forget to actually think about themselves as an individual and focus on their own train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all about kind of gauging what's worth thinking about and what's not.
Sure.
And I've kind of hit a point where it just, although I still definitely suffer from some anxiety issues, it doesn't fully affect me. I don't fully portray it just because I know in the back of my mind, like, this is something that it's just me and no one else really needs to, not exactly like endure it, but no one needs to witness it and get the wrong idea.
Sure.
Because there's not a lot of like emotional accuracy out there when you're putting out a lot of emotional thoughts. A lot of people find issues of how to actually kind of demonstrate the thoughts in an accurate manner. When you're able to do that, then you can really start aiding yourself, aiding those around you. Mm-hmm. But if you're still kind of misguided, still thoughts are floating around,
right,
that's when you need to kind of take a step back, look at your whole perspective,
right,
and do something different.
Sure. In terms of a gratitude mindset, we talk about gratitude mindset a lot on here because when you're thankful for things and you're grateful for things, it's really hard to be afraid and to feel miserable. Do you guys do you ever, when you're in those states of mind, make like a list of the things that you're grateful to have in your life, or do you find that any of that way of thinking or putting yourself in that kind of mindset helps?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I would say, like, with myself, like, I love to, when it comes down to it, I would say the things I expose myself to it. I'm really grateful for my, I got some really awesome kid siblings.
Yeah.
And one's, she's 16 years younger than me. Her name's Emily, which I shall say hi. Hi, Em.
Hi, Emily.
So she is like literally my mini me. And every time I've been having really, like I said, my depression, I've been trying to get over it. So every Monday we go and we get together. I pick her from school and we go out and do a random sister adventure. And
cool.
That is my way of showing myself what I'm grateful for. Because every time I look at her beautiful blue eyes, I'm like, this is something that matters more than anything. Is I want to make sure that she never is exposed to the way I feel. And if she is, she knows she can talk to me.
Awesome.
And that's something I think from being personally exposed to something I am grateful for and putting her more frequently in my life. I also have a 16-year-old brother. Mm-hmm. And he, same thing. And my other sister Tracy, which she's like my mini-me. So that's honestly, when it comes down to it, like when I expose myself to them, or even Ahmed, like I absolutely gotta say, like my roommate Josh, like it's the people in my life that I kind of really latch onto them because cool. I want to constantly, as long as they're there, it seems like, even with my family, it just seems like there's nothing really in the world that can really bug me. Mm-hmm. Like no matter how like it hurts and it feels crummy at the time, when I talk to them on the phone, it's amazing how they can just change my mindset. When I talk to him for advice, it's like he drives me nuts because he's right every freaking time. That's I think the only thing.
It's hard for a woman to admit, by the way.
Oh no! It's the only time we fight. It's literally I always fight with him how he's always right. Yeah. He's always right. So we're just in a little sea of wrong, and he's in a ship of right. No, but he's got excellent advice, and for my depression and stuff like that, like talking to him, it's amazing to see like how my mind will totally flip the next day or the next hour or however long it takes. But it's once he actually gets that point into my skull, it just kind of sits there, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, it's
light
in
bulb.
there. It's really great. Like, so I think the people, for myself, that's how I end up like, showing my gratitude, but I don't know how he would.
Well, it's
basically, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Same thing, essentially. Like when it comes into family and just kind of realizing that everyone, you're kind of in a giant masquerade. So when you show someone you're genuine, like when you take all that mask and you show them your genuine person, you're gonna get people who are a bit, standoffish, but then the really good people who you're gonna connect with, they're the ones that stick there, and it doesn't matter how long you haven't seen them.
Yeah.
It can be years, you see them again, they're still your best friend, you still instantly connect, and nothing ever changes. But it's all about realizing that not everyone is putting on the front that you think that they are.
Right.
And then just also understanding when they take that off, not to actually judge them for that.
Right.
Not to think that there's some like evil person or they're being mischievous towards you, malicious.
Sure.
It's just gauging things appropriately, I think.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Well, good for you guys. So one last question before we finish off here, because we've been going for a good amount of time here. But so Kimmi, having worked in the sex store, does she in the bedroom ever whip out anything that's you're like, what the fuck is that?
She has been very, very reserved.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's like what we were saying. That's what we were saying in the beginning, right? People think like
that we're super like don't get me wrong. I have a tool chest.
Yeah.
But I'm just not. I don't know if he's ready for the tool chest.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't think.
If I'm ready or she's ready.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So fair enough. So this is there's still lots of adventure to unfold in your relationship.
Oh, quite a bit. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I won't pry any more than that, but we'll leave it at that for tonight, guys. But so we have your Woman Crush Wednesday for you. Kimmi, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. And Ahmed, thank you for coming as well.
Thank you for having us.
If you have any questions for Kimmi, or you could kind of relate to anything that she said, she's got her name tagged on this feed, as well as she's also sharing the video. So I'm hoping you're okay with this, but if
100%.
anybody wants to reach out, and by
feel
all
free
means.
to message anything you'd like,
Okay.
any questions, any comments, anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I have a surprise for you guys tomorrow, so you're gonna like this too.
Okay.
But so tune in tomorrow evening around this time. I think we're gonna start around 7 p.m. tomorrow for Sunday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow and again next week. I don't know if we're gonna reschedule another Woman Crush, but we'll see. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Take care.